there. This is Pat Ennis of Ennis Legacy Partners. Welcome to the Exit Readiness podcast. I'm here with co-host Walter Deyhle, as well as business partner Corby McGordon today. Our mission on the podcast is to provide you, the business owner, with subject matter expertise on topics pertaining to building sellable or transferable business value, and then for helping you plan that eventual and inevitable exit from the business. We want to help you build a business that is indeed transferable and then help you plan a successful exit with no regrets. Today, in this episode, we continue our AI and exit planning series where we're exploring how artificial intelligence is changing the way businesses operate, compete, ultimately create and accelerate value, and how, too, it can be used in planning that eventual exit. AI is one of the most significant, I think we'd all agree, business developments we've seen in maybe our lifetime. And every day we hear about new tools that make promises to increase productivity, improve decision-making, reduce cost, accelerate growth. But here's an important question, we think, that we should all be asking along the way. Can AI actually fix a struggling business, a business that's already struggling? Can AI be the answer to fix it? Can it compensate for weak leadership, for example, or poor processes, unclear strategy, inconsistent execution, or perhaps a dysfunctional culture? Well, we don't think so. We think the answer is not likely. In many ways, AI is we will all agree with this too, I think. It's a powerful amplifier. It can make a well-managed business even better. It can help great teams become more productive and better informed. But it can also expose inefficiencies, magnify poor processes, which I think we're going to talk about today, and accelerate bad decisions if the underlying business isn't healthy to begin with. And so that's why we've titled today's episode, Why AI Won't Fix Your Company. We're going to explore why AI delivers tremendous, where it does deliver tremendous value, or can, where owners should be cautious about unrealistic expectations, and why strong leadership, discipline management, and well-designed business systems remain foundational to every valuable, sellable, transferable business. AI doesn't replace great leadership, it amplifies it. AI doesn't create great businesses, it accelerates the ones that already have strong fundamentals. And joining us today, we're excited to have with us, is guest Jürgen Dauk. Jürgen, coming to us from Germany, helps senior leaders and boards redesign how their organizations actually work, especially how the decisions are made, how ownership's distributed, execution happens, and how execution happens as the companies scale. He has decades of executive experience in global tech companies, including Oracle, Avaya, and Jürgen's led international sales. He's led international operations, business transformation initiatives across Europe. And today he advises companies on building modern leadership operating systems that enable faster decision-making. We all want that, distributed leadership, and outcome-driven execution. So Jürgen, welcome. Thanks for getting up, I think, pretty early over there, or is it late over there?
It's late.
No, it's
late, right?
Yeah,
6
yeah,
hours.
yeah.
6 hours later.
On the show. No,
Okay, so you're wide awake. You're wide awake. Well, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here with us. And I think Walter's got our first question for you today, per usual.
Hey, Jurgen, nice to see you. Let me ask you, I'm going to start off with a personal question. So I've always been told that my name is German, Deyhle. But then I had a client from Germany who said he's never seen that name.
I think I've seen that name in Germany, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay,
but
well,
might well be.
Well, you guys have the same haircut, so
yeah, so maybe.
Well, Haircut is a big word, right?
But Jurgen's working at 5 o'clock. I'm always off by then.
That's true. You are.
So Jurgen, let me start us off. So, a viewer seeing this topic could think that you're like negative on AI, but I think what the thesis here is that, like Pat kind of alluded to, AI can be a very useful tool, but owners have to realize that if they have underlying structural problems in their business, AI is not necessarily going to solve those. So, is that the correct thesis? And if it is, can you go ahead and expand upon that some, please?
Yeah, great question. I think, as Pat said, I think it amplifies what's there already. If you have a really well-structured business, AI can really help you and help you accelerate and grow faster. I mean, the efficiency gains are great. But if the underlying system or the setup of your company is weak, it amplifies that, and a lot of effort will go into AI without seeing the efficiency gains. Just a small example. If you want to build a better marketing inside your company, right? Want to improve on customer acquisitions, want to bring down customer acquisition cost. If you have been really good at defining your offering, if you're very detailed on your ideal customer profile, buyer personas, and you feed that into an AI, you'll be able to generate good content much quicker than before, right? But if you're vague on the inputs, the outputs will not be great. And what I've seen a lot is so that the fundamentals are not great. And if you're relying on AI just to speculate on those foundational things, I think you're lost. What I'm also seeing is if you run a company and all functions are operating separately, right? And you tell your centralized IT department to implement an AI solution company-wide, right? So they go off, do their research, get offers on the table, and they make a final decision on which AI to take. They roll it out company-wide. So now, next day, everybody in the company has got, let's say, Microsoft Copilot appearing in their Office applications. So what level of efficiency gains would you expect coming from that? Right, I would say very minimal.
Yeah.
Well, if you have...
Hey, Jürgen, explain why you think very minimal.
Because if people continue to work as they've worked before, without, a clear goal, help on how to utilize best, there's not much happening. And this is what I'm seeing a lot. While if you have smaller teams that work on really specific issues they're trying to solve, or have a very specific processes that they wanna improve on, right? If they have an external specialist coming in and saying, okay, we can optimize that with AI, you're seeing very quickly huge efficiency gains. But this global and broad, we get AI in whatever solution that is, and then to expect something great coming out doesn't work from my experience.
Yeah, Jürgen, you entitled your book "The Leadership Operating System," and how does that concept influence what you're talking about? Because we think mechanics when we think operating systems often, but can you pull on that thread?
Yeah, more than happy to, because it's a valid question, right? I started writing that book when AI was just in its infancy.
Yeah.
So I asked myself, is it still, would I write it differently?
Yeah.
And what I was looking at was really the fundamentals of a business. So how's a good leadership team structured? Are we clear on our ideal customer, right? It's not the customer we wish for, but the customer that is getting the biggest value of what we are offering. Do we understand how a buying process works? Do we understand what kind of people we need, what skills we need for specific roles? So it's really the fundamentals in different areas of the business, and I think that's still valid. So it's not an operating system in the form of a prescription machine like, fixed system, but rather the elements that you would need to shape your specific company into a well-oiled machine that will withstand the next change episode that is coming, that would survive if you are exiting as the current owner and CEO. So really building the foundation for a sustainable company.
Yeah. So I mean, what I hear you saying is that, unlike some operating systems where there is a tool to implement the thing, like you said, there is a subjectivity when you get people in the mix, and that the fundamentals of people, knowing what people are doing and inputs and outputs, human inputs and outputs, really are key to implementing AI effectively, even.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you tap into the potential of the people you have, and if you trust your people more, you can be much better. You can make decisions quicker, but the inputs to AI and the working together of humans and AI becomes much more efficient. So, and I sometimes find it funny how little we trust our people, like in middle management or frontline roles, right? In private, people are making big decisions, right? They marry, they buy a house, so they take big investment decisions and big long-term decisions. And in business, we don't trust them to make a $50 decision, right? So I think more trust to the people and empowerment to the people and distributed decision making is really helping, and not concentrating everything onto 1, 2, or 10 people.
Where are you seeing, Jurgen, in the work that you're doing with businesses? Uh, where do you most often see business owners expecting AI to solve problems like actually leadership or process or even cultural issues? Or are you? Maybe you're not.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of leaders, senior leaders, and CEOs with the big hope that AI will massively transform their company. And I think only those CEOs that are already looking into modern ways of running a company, which is more decentralized than completely hierarchical and command and control. I think those modern CEOs are seeing benefits, and they know exactly what they can expect, because they know they have strong people who can uncover the potential of AI. So there's a lot of trust. And then I see those, more traditional leaders that also have a high hope of gaining efficiencies, are more skeptical, and then they quickly realize things are not materializing as quickly as they wanted. They spend a lot of time and effort on AI. And what I'm seeing a lot in those cases is there's an enormous pressure then to save cost. And since AI isn't delivering the cost savings in those cases, they need to fire people, right? And this is like fuel to the fire. So they've spent the money and time and effort on AI. They're not seeing the efficiency gains, and then they're losing people. So they're putting the company under enormous stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. A lot of that has been playing out, right before our eyes. There was, I think, Ford laid off thousands of employees thinking they could replace them with AI. Now they're hiring them back. I think the latest survey from businesses said they're going to be cutting back their AI spending in the next quarter. Because I think a lot of them were in the situation you're exactly describing, where they thought they could just buy this software and it will get implemented and be transformational. And what they're realizing it's not quite that simple, and it's expensive, so it's hurting their bottom line right now.
And you can do amazing things with AI, right? It's more a matter if you have teams that are experimenting, that are empowered to experiment with AI, they can see value. But if it's a prescribed, and as you said, like in a very rigid system, you're adding AI, it's difficult to see the benefits that quickly.
From an exit planning perspective, of course, that's the perspective that we always have in view. How do you think buyers distinguish, or how should they distinguish between a company that's buyers of a business, it, um, between a company that's using AI strategically and one that's simply, doing as you described, kind of chasing the latest shiny object in regard to technology?
So from my experience, buyers would always look at how sustainable is the business. So if I would buy that company, could I leave it alone and it would work? What is the potential over the next 3-5 years, right? And I think, well, in the past, companies were buying more the technology. I think today more and more companies are looking at, is it a healthy system? Is how are the people? What am I actually buying next to the technology? So there will always be the question then, buy or build. So what am I really buying? How innovative is the company? I think those things are becoming more and more important. And I think people or companies that are looking to acquire, they are much more looking into those details than in the past. So it's not just revenue or technology they're buying.
So, Jürgen, are you saying that in a way, this new technology can almost send a message that the human interaction is less critical, so we don't need to invest so much in them? I'm almost hearing you saying, no, leadership really needs to ensure they're investing in their quote human capital, so that the power of the tool actually is more effective and more efficient.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If it's just the tools, right, you can do it yourself, right? So it's really around, this human capital, this richness of people with their creativity, with their experience is key. 100%. So you're buying the innovation power of the people and not the tools.
Yeah, and so hey, Jurgen, what in regard to that leadership that Corby just mentioned, what skills and aptitudes do leaders and managers are they going to have going forward in regard to, because AI is we're all going to be using it and leveraging it, or we're not going to be competitive, and we're going to be left behind. So there needs to be leadership, there needs to be management. We've established that. What kind of skill sets do those leaders and managers have to have going forward that maybe they haven't had to have in the past?
Well, it's much more about real people leadership. So the simple, I do reporting. So I report back to higher management and I give my orders downstream. It doesn't exist anymore. So this will be will be a thing of the past. So I think modern leadership is really, you have to understand how to enable people, how to form teams that can solve problems and that are able to experiment and find new ways. And I really loved a recent interview of Jensen Huang at NVIDIA, right? And he said, basically he said, if I'm hearing that CEOs think about cost savings and firing people because of AI, those CEOs lost imagination. Because just imagine, you have great people, right? And then you give them better tools. Great people and now better tools should be able to really produce great results.
Right.
But if you're trying to get rid of all the people, and just take the technology, who's doing great things with that?
That's right.
Okay, so we like to give listeners
Good.
1, 2, or 3 practical steps they can take to kind of address the topic that we're talking about. Uh, if from your perspective, if an owner wants to leverage AI successfully over the next 2 or 3 years, what do you think they should look to fix first before maybe even considering implementing AI?
I would say number one is really how decisions are made in the company. So if you're moving decision power closer to where work gets done, you will enable the people to find the best solution, including AI, right, to solve problems. So that is the first thing I would really look at, and educating the people to be able to make decisions and to be able to use AI. This would be my number one. Number two is really getting the basics right, but this can, of course, be done in distributed teams, like I mentioned earlier, really being sharp on who your ICP is, who your buying persona is, how your customers are gaining value from whatever solution or services you're offering. But, first step is really enabling your people in decision making.
Very good. And most of the businesses that we work with, Jurgen, as you know, they're up to 40 million or so in revenue, and a lot of them are founder led, either baby boomers or next gen, and or Gen X. Is that what comes after baby boomers? It is, right?
I think yes, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
So, and maybe they don't see themselves as leading in this for whatever reason. Maybe they just don't want to. How would you tell them to identify or to put leadership in place if they're really wrestling with that? We need leadership for this. I don't want to do it. How do I figure out who's going to do it?
I think the easiest way is to talk to people, right? There's a good chance you have great people around you and inside your company who would like to step up and help shape that. And the more you do it, the less you have to worry about doing it all on your own, and the less you have to worry that the company is surviving after you're stepping down or exiting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jürgen, could you put an asterisk on that thought though, that I think at times owners can, to Pat's question, can go, okay, well, I'm going to assign that to Sally and she's going to take care of it, and disengage themselves. How critical is it that senior leadership remains engaged so it's clear this is company wide,
Yeah, right. Good
not a
point.
project?
Right. I think the clarity in communication is super important. So if you are passing down decision power further down the org chart, right, it has to be 100% clear what is expected, what the guardrails are and how you want to communicate, right? So it's not about being disengaged, but it's about I don't have to make all the decisions myself. So this is what I want you to decide. Those are the guardrails. And, you know, let's be in very close communication. If you are unsure of what is expected, let me know. Or if I'm seeing this is, I don't know, maybe going in the wrong direction, let's recalibrate. So it doesn't mean disengagement, but empowerment and being. I think this open and transparent communication is key for you know, this change in decision making power.
I hear you almost emphasizing that, you know, the Cotter's classic, you know, leadership change requires communication, and then empowerment, building a coalition.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I mean, a lot of leadership is fear driven, right? So and to tackle that, you try to control, right? So if you want to let go of control, you have to address the fear behind it, right? What could go wrong? What if you have to address that, right? If you're not addressing that with proper communication and really in dialogue, then you'll amplify the fear section and people will have the tendency to flip back to control.
Yeah, very good. Very helpful.
Well, excellent conversation, Jürgen. Any final thoughts as we wrap up? We're going to ask you if there's something you want to promote and if you want to share contact information. But before we do that, any final thoughts on what we've been talking about today? Are there any questions that we should have asked you that we didn't, for example?
So, final thought would be build people-centric organizations, right? And distribute, tap into the creativity and power of the people. That would be my most important message, I would say. And yeah, I would be interested in what are you seeing when you're helping companies on their journey, exiting? You know, what do you see behind the scenes?
Yeah. Walter or Corby, you want to go first, or you want me to?
I mean, it just thought like right now, I think there's just uncertainty. There's that fear of missing out to say, oh my goodness, that train is leaving and it's moving fast. I better jump on it. But it's kind of reactionary. And so that either leads to running after something totally or just going, never mind, I'm going to ignore it. One of the two. But and I think that learning curve, you know, people are coming down the learning curve, but it's probably confusion / uncertainty for now because they don't know.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Corby. And those are uncertainty, but certainty, certain that it's here to stay, and we got to get on board. The train's left the station. But reactionary, we're seeing that to where, you know, historically, business owners that we work with, they might buy new software thinking it's going to be the solution, only for the software to not be at all implemented or implemented effectively because there was not a strategic strategy, or the processes that were foundational to the software remain bad. So there was no strategy to it. It was, like Corby said, reactionary. So that's a concern or a question that we have, because business owners that we work with, they take action. They're, you know, that's why they've been successful in building a business. They're action people. And so the train's left the station. We got to get on it. Let's take action. You get on that. Let's make something happen. Let's put it in place, rather than taking step back, big picture, slow it down a little bit, and create a strategy like what you have put forth here today. I think that would be our perspective at this point. Thanks for asking the question. Appreciate it. Walter, did you have anything to add to any of that? Yeah. So, Jürgen, what do you want to promote today? You wrote a book. You want to promote that? You want to promote other stuff? What do you want to promote?
Yeah, definitely. I want to promote my book, and not so much because I think I'll earn a fortune with the book, right? So I'm really passionate about building better businesses. So, and I try to contribute to that. So the book is called The Leadership Operating System and can be found on Amazon. And there is a corresponding website to it, which, if you go there, you can find a ton of free of charge templates that you can, do some self-assessment on where things go wrong in your company. So it might be worth downloading. And the website is theleadership-os.com. And you simply leave your email and you can download a few really, really, I think, helpful assessment sheets.
Excellent. And if they want to contact you, they would contact you through the website?
Either website, or I can be found on LinkedIn, where I have following. So Jürgen Dauk on LinkedIn. Would be nice to connect. Would also like to hear, your feedback. What do you think? Where do you see things differently? So always happy to hear your feedback.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you, Jürgen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for working past 5 o'clock today.
It's
not all of us do that. And listeners, if you'd like help building that, creating value, accelerating value, making that business of yours more transferable and sellable, or getting ready. A plan is the easy part. You can get a plan in a minute on ChatGPT, but we can help you get ready with accountability, execution, and judgment. You can reach us at email@nslp.com. If you prefer actually to move through a planning process, at least at the beginning, at your own pace, take a look at our exitreadiness.com in our Exit Readiness DIY platform at exitreadiness.com. There's a few different levels there, and you might find that very helpful. Thanks for listening, as always. If you found today's conversation helpful, please consider liking it and sharing it on social media, and then subscribing. We'd appreciate that. So until next time on the Exit Readiness Podcast, this is Pat Ennis with Walter Deyhle and Corby McGordon signing off. Thank you.